welcome back. Now, I have to mention, I actually got a roofer. I said we're building a home. I actually had a conversation with a roofer today who basically convinced me that I needed to go with him because he charges enough money to stay in business. He said, I basically said, okay, you do X, Y, and Z. This guy does X, Y, and Z. Is it the same price? He says, no, I'm still going to be higher.
Right.
And I thought, I trust this guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to get, who knows, $1,000, $2,000 more dollars because he listened to me, and he wasn't about facts of, well, I'm better, cooler, awesomer. I can trust him.
You can trust him. In a state like this where so many people are looking for feelings that confirm good decisions that they're trying to make, if you are honest with them, then those feelings that they have will extend to you, and you'll be much more likely to get a good, long-standing relationship with people than all the facts in the world. And all the facts in the world, like we talked about previously, generally fight against what you're trying to accomplish anyway.
Yeah.
So facts aren't the answer. Neither is AFAX, which is FAX. Those are not the answer either.
I go back to when
Those aren't the answer.
When I was presenting in a live setting, one of the rules I used was facts tell, stories sell.
That's true.
And I think it's a similar sort of a thing. Nobody wants to sit in a classroom, whether it's a CE classroom or anything else, where somebody just dumps facts on you.
No. Now, what we're saying right now, some of you will undoubtedly be thinking in your mind, yes, but I've been doing this for 20 years, and I know that it's features and benefits. Features and benefits sell, features and benefits sell. And I'm here to tell you, no, they don't. Some of us get very, very adept at presenting features and benefits in a way that convey a sense to the buyer that they can trust us, that we're telling the truth, that this is a great home for them, or to the listing agent, doesn't matter what party we're talking about, right? That the relationship with us is good because they sense in us a desire to help them based on that they're drowning in information, right? So it's not the information that's helping you. There's a certain amount that has to happen, but beyond just the basic stuff that's compatible with the desired home that they, with the desire for a home that they have. It's not the information that's helping you. It's their relationship with you and how they view you. Features and benefits can be great, and I've met people who sell very well based upon them, but that's not really what's doing the selling. And a good story, getting inside your customer's story, whether that customer be another agent or a spouse or partner or a child or a potential buyer, getting inside their story is far more likely to result in a relationship of trust and a decision that's mutually beneficial.
Speaking of stories, let's go back to New York, and then we'll go back to...
Okay.
So how did you've already done the respect and respond with the dude in the audience. Mm-hmm. How did you redirect him?
So that's an interesting one. So I need to tell you how the rest of the response went, because remember, we're trying to remove antagonism and walk with that person. So you remember earlier I said, what happened? What have you tried? Well, I talked to my account manager. I talked to all these people. It's so frustrating, and this and this and this happened. And my response to him was, that must have been incredibly frustrating. If I were in your shoes right now, so again, I'm walking with him, right? If I were in your shoes right now, I would have been furious, just livid.
And once again, I see, don't you love how I interrupt when you're right in the middle of the train?
I don't lose my train of thought, we're good.
Once again, I see where this guy's got his sword up. He's probably got an AK-47 or something, but
yeah,
he's got
with a flamethrower.
Yeah. There you go. And you don't accept the challenge.
No. You can't counter, you have to move with him. It's a little bit of mental Bruce Lee, right? Bruce Lee talked about moving like water, and the water flows in the easiest path. So we're actually letting their energy come toward us, but then we're going with it. So I said, if I were in your shoes, I would be livid, and he almost began to cry. He said, and his shoulders, it was this, oh, yeah, I mean, you can't imagine how difficult this was, because everybody was blaming me. So now, what he's hungry for? He wants to be heard. He wants a solution, and he wants to know that somebody's not going to blame him. We're going to help him become the solution, not the perceived problem.
Yeah, he's feeling threatened. He's got his job that he, at least he's going to be made to look bad. He'll be professionally embarrassed. He might be fired. He's got his family to feed.
Yeah.
And so there's no shortage of fears that are true to him
It's all fear.
that justify some bad behavior in a seminar.
That's true. And for your potential customers or your business partners or anything else, most every objection, most every uncertainty, most every failure to make a decision or procrastination of a decision is based on fear. All of this is based on fear. So the 3 R's really could be a lesson in overcoming fear and getting somebody to keep walking. So when I said that to the guy and he explained what it was he was hungry for, that's what I fed him. I said, you and I don't have time to solve this. I mean, we're in a class with people who are here for a reason. We can't solve it right now. But why don't we do this? I know people who scare people. During lunch, I'll get on the phone with them and I will personally walk you through finding somebody who can help solve this problem because I believe that I know what it is and I know where to go. Would that be helpful to you? And you know what his response was? Oh, seriously? That would be fantastic. I said, great. Now, that's part of the redirect.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only part of it. Well, that's really part of just the respect, right? And the respond. I respected that he was being a jerk for a reason. I responded in a way that I understood what he's hungry for. But redirect has to move us back somewhere. I said, now to the rest of the class. You all heard Russ's story. Based on these principles that I was teaching you, what do you think might have happened to cause that technical problem? And how can we avoid similar issues for all of you based on what we've learned from Russ? Russ, will you describe that to us a little more? Now Russ is my ally.
Yeah, now you've got a best friend for life.
He's best friend for life. And he was anxious to help everybody else avoid the agony that he had just been through.
And
But we're moving back to the training path that we were on, to the story that we were in the middle of. That's where we redirect to. That's what I mean.
But now let's take that scenario and now move it to a real estate setting.
Okay.
And you have disarmed this person. You understand what they are hungry for.
Right.
Take it from there.
So we have to begin with what story are we in, right? So everything is a narrative of sorts. So if I'm working with a potential buyer, right, we're walking through a house, I've shown 2 others, we're in the 3rd, and the story we're in is this person wants a new place for their family to live. I may or may not understand why yet. You should. We'll have to talk about that another time. I'll teach you ways to do that. But the story we're in is we're moving toward the culmination of their story being they are happily ensconced in a new residence and I happily have a commission.
I always wanted to be ensconced.
Everybody needs to be ensconced. Anyway, you want them happily residing in a new home and you have a commission check and everybody's good. So we have to return to that story, right? So the guy makes the comment, I go with him on the response and I say, yeah, what we're trying to do is really, really good because they're trying to eliminate the middleman, simplify the process, and make sure that you get the most value for your dollar. He's disarmed by that comment. Then as he describes to me why he feels like they're doing a good thing, and I've asked him, remember, is that how you see it? And he describes it to me. Then I'm able to say, yeah, that's exactly what I do. In fact, I actually get paid to make sure you get more value out of the transaction than you could otherwise. Let me give you an example. Examples are great ways to get back to a story, right? If you don't have an example, think of one or write to us and say, give me some examples. I'm dying here.
And you can ask around the office. But yeah, I mean, it might be, I can see that you're very concerned about the fact that you only have, a very limited amount of equity, and that's why you want to keep what little you have within your own pocket by paying nothing to anybody else.
Right.
I understand these are your goals, X, Y, Z, and that's what I do.
That's what I do. Yeah. So I am a professional, and I am trained and experienced in making sure that the value you have at the end is higher than you could otherwise get, and that you have a better experience, because you want something that's most suitable for your family. And I have access to some, tools, techniques, people, places, and experiences that will help me do that. Where to do it on your own is kind of a waste of time and money. It would kind of be like doing your own taxes if they were really, really complicated, right? We don't want to do that. We want to make sure you get all the refunds you can get. Tell me a little bit more about why the thing was appealing to you. Are there certain kinds of homes that you have looked for or talked about or thought about that are different with them than what you and I have looked at?
I'm thinking if let's switch roles. Let's say you're the buyer and I'm the agent, and because I know home inspections, I could go down that road. I could say, okay, I understand, and assuming that I am into their story and that their story is, I'm going to starve to death tomorrow if I don't save some money.
Right.
Then I can go down maybe the home inspection road, and I can say basically I can I can help you be protected from that home inspector who makes a list, and now all of a sudden you've got $60,000 of bills to pay because they don't want any spiders in the basement.
Right.
So I can see how that, how a person, a realtor, could combat that. But only after they understand what that story.
You have to know what their story is. So sometimes you can ask feelings that are very targeted toward ask questions that are targeted toward revealing more of how they feel about a certain thing. So if my story as an agent is, I need to get them in a house, right? Then I have to know how they feel about it. So I would stand in the middle of that home and say, now, we've looked at this a little bit. I'm not asking you if you want to buy it. Tell me what feelings you have in this home. How do you feel in the living room? How does that bedroom, how does that kitchen make you feel? What is it that you're looking for in how a house feels? Help me understand a little bit more about that.
Now that you mention that, I have, because of my home inspection background, I have some people that I know who do that very well, and I have some people that I could put a name to who don't do that very well.
Most people don't.
I know one person who you feel very pushed, and even if it is the perfect home for them, it's like, stop pushing me. I'm not feeling good about this home because there you are over there annoying me.
Right.
And all I really want to do is get rid of you, and once I do that, then I can start thinking about houses.
Sometimes people get always be closing and always be pushing mixed up.
Yeah, on the other hand, there's a dude that shares our hairstyle,
right.
And you just get that his first and only goal is to make sure that they are really well served. And you trust that guy, and then you get past that hurdle, and the next one is, okay, I understand now as the buyer that if you, a person who I trust, who understands my story, think that this is a good house for me to buy, then that weighs heavily in my decision.
Right. Yeah, and you might talk to them about reasons that they ought to consider this particular home, but phrase it in feely stuff.
Feely stuff. That's what redirecting is then, is feely stuff.
Redirecting is getting them back into the flow of the story.
Their story.
By having, of their story. So it's respecting that their objections, their procrastinations, their whatevers, right, are real to them. Responding in a way that feeds them what they're hungry for, and then putting them back into the current. It's like you're flowing down a stream and they've stepped off on the bank for a minute. You got to get them back in the current so that you're flowing toward resolution. But that current has to be the stream they want to swim in. It can't be the stream you want to swim in. So you've got to figure out what it is for them. Now, let's make it even harder, right?
Okay.
You're in one of these and somebody says, well, I love this house, but I hate this family room.
Okay, let's do that in the next segment.
Okay.